Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the wait. So welcome to this RHC webinar roundtable on Finnish perspectives on the renewable heating and cooling market. Today we're going to look at this topic from the Finland point of view, and we have our speakers that are going to dive deep into this topic. So without further ado, I will present myself. I'm Andrej Cittadini. I'm policy advisor here at EGEC Geothermal, and I will moderate this roundtable discussion. But let's have a look at the agenda. So we are going to, so my colleague Leonie Kuhlmann, she's going to introduce you to the RHC-ETIP and the main activities, the objectives of this ETIP platform. Andrej Misech is going to then provide us with an overview on the financing opportunities for RHC sector with a focus on Finland. And then we are going to start with our roundtable discussion. So we are going to have our speakers that are going to address this topic from a specific technology perspective. But I'm going to introduce them one by one later. And then we are going to have a Q&A session where you will have the opportunity to ask questions to our speakers. So you should see the chat below, so you can already start asking questions, and then we are going to raise them and address them later. So now I will pass the floor to Leonie. So she can introduce you to the RHC platform. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining also from my side. So indeed, I will now start presenting the RHC platform. It's part of the European Technology and Innovation Platform since 2016. You can see a QR code on this slide, which brings you to our website in case you want to find more information. This platform brings together stakeholders from different sectors, such as biomass, geothermal, solar thermal, district heating, and the heat pump sector. And it aims to bring us common strategy for increasing the use of renewable energy technologies for heating and cooling. Thereby, we want to showcase that renewable heating and cooling technologies are safe, clean, efficient, and increasingly cost competitive. As a result, society will then benefit from the increasing contribution of renewable heating and cooling to the European Union's energy mix. The platform combines improved and new technologies, innovation and development, as well as policy, funding, and pilot projects. Please see here our partners. So we are a consortium of 6 organizations consisting of EUREC, Solar Heat Europe, Euroheat and Power, the European Heat Pump Association, WIP, and EGEC, our organization. When it comes to our goals, well, we aim to develop working relationships with other relevant national and regional platforms, so other ETIPs. We want to establish and update strategic research and innovation agendas per technology area, from basic research to market update, identifying priorities in the short, medium, and long term. Furthermore, we aim to identify cross-cutting priorities of cost-cutting nature, such as education and training, socioeconomic aspects, but also international cooperation. We also want to identify innovation barriers, notably those related to regulation and finance. And last but not least, we report on the implementation of research and innovation activities at European, national, and industry level as well. Amongst others, we have the RHC project database, which you can find via this QR code on the screen. The objective of this database is to track past and ongoing projects in the area of renewable heating and cooling, and to create synergies between the different projects and sectors as well. Of course, here we focus on projects funded at the EU level, and whenever possible, this platform also presents results of projects which have finished. Furthermore, we are developing the RHC Accelerator platform, which will bridge the gap between research project and market-ready solutions. And so the database will consist of research projects seeking assistance to become market-ready products, as well as a directory of investors and experts who want to support these project developers. So in case one of you, or several of course, are an expert on one of our renewable heating and cooling solutions or an investment company, please have a look via the QR code and you will be able to register as an expert or investor for our platform. Thank you very much.
Sorry. So thank you, Leonie, for introducing us to the RHC platform. Now let's move to Andrej, who is going to provide us with an overview of the financial opportunities in Finland.
Thank you very much, Julia, and good morning, everyone. All right, so I will very briefly talk about what the RHC platform can provide you in terms of information about funding opportunities for renewable heating and cooling sectors. Also, specifically for Finland, but more broadly in general on EU scale and on EU level. So I will later show you how to access this information on the RHC platform website, but we offer basically two types of information. So first one is EU funding schemes catalog. Here, if you click on this subtitle on the website, you can access 4 different things. We have a 300+ pages long report prepared already 2 or 3 years ago, so all the information might not be all up to date, but still it's a very comprehensive and hopefully still relevant inventory of funding instruments that are accessible on EU level, but also on the national level of all 27 countries. You can also access directly from here also EU funding overview. That's a link to a Flemish government website or portal where you can get a very nice overview of different EU level funding schemes and tools. We also link here Up to Europe portal where you can directly see different Horizon Europe calls upcoming are being currently opened. You can have a nice overview of the topic and what's required to apply, etc., etc. And there's also a link to national single portals. Here you can see the screenshot on the lower left side. These are national portals for 8 EU funds. These are, of course, country specific. So here you can find information about RHC relevant funding from European Regional Development Fund, Social Fund, Cohesion Fund, Just Transition Fund, etc., etc. Secondly, this is more interesting for Finland. For sure, we have data sets available through our website, which was kindly provided by different LIFE and Horizon Europe project focused on renewable heating and cooling technologies. This data set is for EU27, financing schemes for decarbonizing buildings, heating and cooling. The mapping includes financing schemes across key sectors of renewable heating and cooling, covering building envelope, heating and cooling efficiency, renewable energy for heating and cooling, space cooling, district heating and cooling, and geothermal district heating and cooling. For each scheme, you can see the original title in the national language with English translation and sector-specific details, descriptions, and direct application links. So I think this is very relevant for Finland. You can filter in this data set according to the country, as you can see in the screenshot on the bottom of the slide. And you can see very up-to-date information because, I mean, the data set was prepared just last year. So you can see up-to-date information on different tools that are relevant for if you want for Finnish stakeholders, but if you want to filter it according to different country, that's of course possible. There is also further funding related information. You have a database, as Leonie mentioned, of investors relevant for renewable heating and cooling, database of business experts on RHC technologies, insights into RHC-related EU legislation. It's also something that might be relevant for funding purposes, but also in general for development of RHC technologies. There is a directory of national contact points that you can access through the RHC platform, and as Loni mentioned, database of renewable heating and cooling projects from Horizon Europe, from Horizon 2020, live tool, or even the national funding programs. We also have a site on success stories, which is being gradually added. And all this information is a part of the RHC accelerator, which is currently being established under the RHC platform, and more information will be gradually added. So if you go to the platform website, you can click on RHC accelerator and access all this information, but be advised that some of the sub parts of the website might not be all complete. The information is gradually being added, and we hope that this will be a useful tool for renewable heating and cooling stakeholders going forward. So I invite you to have a look at the RHC platform, have a look at this information, and then I hope that it can be useful for your RHC projects or just in general for the work that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrej, for this presentation. I think it's definitely a useful tool that you're developing under this project, and it can be useful for our audience. So I'm sure they will have a look at it after the webinar. So now let's start with our roundtable discussion finally, and I'm happy to introduce you to our first speaker. So please welcome to Teppo Arola. I hope I pronounce it well. He's chief expert in geoenergy at the Geological Survey of Finland, and is going to provide you with an overview of geothermal energy role in district heating and cooling in Finland. So I'm really curious about this presentation. Please, Teppo.
Thank you, Silja, and you did it well. You did extremely well. So I will now share my screen. And I know this is very annoying, but how do you see it now?
We see the two screens, two slides at the same time.
Okay.
Now it's perfect. Thank you.
Now it's perfect. Yeah. Sorry about this. It's always annoying. But yeah, let's start and dive into geothermal world now in Finland. Just a driving force and kind of a background document for geothermal development as well as other renewable development is these carbon neutral plans. Every city has those. Most are aiming to have a carbon neutral at 2030. And with right political attitude and kind of this can be very powerful tool, which has been which has been seen, for example, in Helsinki area. So that's why I wanted to highlight. Using this right, this can provide a good backbone for carbon-free energy production. Then about geothermal energy role in Finland currently. With ground source heat pumps, we provide about 10 terawatt hours heat per year. That is a big number. It's over 1 terawatt more than which is produced by district heating in both Helsinki and Tampere, and the number is increasing. However, the beauty of the geothermal here is that according to our calculation, our ground, even it's cold one, our ground is still can provide basically infinite source for heating energy. And then if we come back to the ground, so in almost similar geological condition in our country and in our neighbor in Sweden, they are taking 3 times more heat from ground than we are doing at the moment. So in geothermal, the issues relating to utilization of heat or cool from ground are technical instead of natural, and that is it's always easy when it's a technical issue compared to natural ones. Speaking about the potential maps, we have provided different kind of potential map for geothermal. We have shallow ones, middle deep, and then deep potential, and also this open loop potential, which means aquifer geothermal potential. Those are freely available, and also data for those are freely available. Then in the right-hand side, we have produced this 100 degrees contour map, which actually shows our situation quite well. So basically, you have to go quite deep to find the 100 degrees in our country. And that's, of course, is the reason why we need geothermal heat pumps in here. So in terms of district heating and cooling, underground energy storages are vital, because we have quite warm summers and huge heating demand on a winter time. So to store to heat somewhere is vital, and underground provides a great potential. Then I have taken this kind of different titles from newspapers. Unfortunately, those are in Finnish, but I just tell you the story. This is the title of first pit storage in Hyvinkään, Finland. This is a title of there are several cavern storages which has originally made for oil, storing oil on the ground, and now those have been renovated as a heat storages. So basically replacing oil with water, and there are several projects going on in that section. There's in Turku, my hometown, there's a market square, and there are hundreds of energy piles under the market square. So they're taking heat from the heat in summer and store it via energy pile, store it to clay, and then utilize it on a winter time. Some of you may have heard about this Vantaa Energy. They have started to build the biggest heat storage in Europe. They are building a completely new cavern storage in Vantaa. And then just final example, you know, it's possible to use to store to heat even in 2 kilometers deep wells, which I guess Rami will tell you more on later, so I'm not going to jump in very details. These are just to show you that the variety of geological condition, even in our country, can provide for this area. Then about the distinct heating and cooling networks. The map here is produced by the data of European Geothermal Energy Council Market Report 2023, and there is the number how many district heating cooling locations are in country in place. And as you see, there's the number in Nordic countries is low compared to the Middle European. However, the number of existing distinct heating and cooling network is very large in Nordic countries. So there's a big difference between what would the network be and what is the number of geothermal sites. And that, of course, and the current distinct heating sites in Finland are medium deep geothermal wells in bedrock, and also there's one open loop groundwater district cooling system in Pori. So why is that? And what is needed in future? Well, we know that deep is more, because there's more heat to provide, but it's still kind of we may want to do some study. What would be the optimized geothermal well or well solution for different kind of district heating and cooling networks? And one of our strategic research question in Geological Survey Finland is how to increase heating power in geothermal system. Because in geothermal system, they are very good to provide energy, baseload energy, but they are not so good systems to provide heating power and high heat demands power. And that is maybe one reason why we have so few geothermal district heating and cooling systems at the moment, because we have quite cold ground, and then the current district heating system requires quite high heat. So there's a big step from ground to the current technical solution. And maybe also we haven't really done so good planning as we could, where to drill and where to put our system. And so how could we improve them? Of course, the fourth and fifth generation networks allow 16-finger possibility for geothermal, because the step from cold ground to the operating temperature will decrease. By increasing geothermal energy, we can reduce wood incineration and hence save forest and increase carbon sinks. This kind of a point which has been more important during these last years. However, the energy distribution markets are very traditional Finland, and so it need a kind of structural and attitude change if we want to make a large improvements in that section, and maybe new business models, so that we could provide a result which has been shown in the figures, and then to build the heating system also in geological in right places. Then about the risk and funding, as we heard just previously, that was a great database what you have represented last. Of course, in geothermal, the ratio of investment cost for the operating cost is extremely high, and all the risks are related to investment phase. In Finland, there's really no kind of reliable funding for geothermal operation in here. We know that often the risks are materialized during the drilling phase, but it's not the right way to invest all the money for drilling, because drilled well does not provide any energy. You have to build the energy system on it. So I think we would need a kind of new support model for large geothermal project in this country. And finally, I'll always end my presentation about the story of not homogeneous ground and bedrock. So these systems cannot be copied from one place to another one. You have to know what is underground. And the nature is always right. Not we as a human and not even engineers. This is a bit joke, but anyway, it's something which nature couldn't care less of our hopes or willings if they are not based on science. So we cannot change nature. We can read it, and that's why we can provide more better geothermal project and solution. So that's all what I had. Thank you for your time, and open for questions.
Thank you, Teppo, for this really interesting presentation overview of geothermal district heating and cooling in Finland. I think you touched on several topics that are also raised by the EA report. No, like I remember this. There were 2-3 maps that were showing like the temperature reaches at different depths, and indeed the issue there is like if we can reach a certain level of depth, basically geothermal is everywhere. So I think it's indeed it's a matter of innovation. Sorry. But also it's an issue of accessing the right funding schemes to indeed have the possibility to untap this potential. So a lot still needs to be done, definitely. And indeed having geothermal scheme at the European level for like funding for risk mitigation scheme could, I think, help also Finland in tapping the geothermal potential there. But
yes, definitely. Yes.
Exactly. But I'm sure there would be question on this, so we will wait after the presentation from other speakers. And I thank you, Teppo, and I will pass the floor to Jussi. Hirvonen is here.
Yes, I'm here. If you hear me.
Yes, so Jussi Hirvonen, he's executive director at Finnish Heat Pump Association, and he will provide us with an overview of the success story of the heat pump market in Finland. So Jussi, the floor is yours.
So good morning. Do you see my presentation well?
Yes, perfect.
So I'm Jussi Hirvonen, and I'm coming from Finnish Heat Pump Association, small association which is lobbying and promoting heat pumps in Finland. There are also logos of EHPA and IEA-HPG. I have been quite active in European Heat Pump Association in the board and in different kind of committees, and also in this IEA's heat pump program. I have been delegate of Finland over 10 years, so a little bit seen this also this international side. But the title is Finland's heat pump success story. It is real success story, as you will know after 12 minutes, which I have time. So here shortly, it has been a glorious story in Finland. We are not anymore so small in Finland. Finnish heat pump cake is about 80 terawatt hours, and we are producing about 16, maybe a little bit more of that. That means over 20% of that. We have invested in 1.7 million heat pumps, already over 9 billion euros. It is not a small sum money. We are increasing 1 terawatt hour per year heat pump production and investing last year, which was not so good year, but we invested 0.6 million euros in 100,000 heat pumps. Business is mostly market-based, not depending on subsidies so much. We have some Scandinavian specialties here, and we are second best heat pump market in EU, maybe even in the world. So that is what my context. So if you look at this Finnish heating and market shares there, we see that Finland is district heating country. We have 45% district heating. We have quite a lot of electricity. We have some wood. We have quite small part of the fossil fuels still. And this orange is our heat pumps. And it is today, this electricity for heat pumps also goes to production. So we have about 21% of Finnish heating production with heat pumps directly. And still also part of the district heating is nowadays with heat pumps. So maybe about 10% of the district heating production is with heat pumps. So heat pumps are producing 1/4 of our heating production in Finland with heat pumps. So it is quite good achievement. Why? There is a systemic change in our energy system, and it is all these lines are raining on heat pumps practically. We have to stop burning of fossil fuels and at least minimize also burning of biomass in future more and more. Electric energy production is going more from centralized systems to decentralized systems and hybrid systems. Of course, we have to save energy, be more efficient, use all waste heat and renewable local heat whatever possible. cooling is increasing part of the business. It is very good for heat pumps. Heating and the whole society is rapidly electrifying. And we see that this traditional district heating is no longer growing in Finland. It is this traditional district heating is no longer growing. It is even decreasing today and will decrease. Electricity production is going towards CO2-free production and especially towards wind. We have quite good nuclear power base there, 30-40%, but it is not increasing in next 10 years. This means also that consumption flexibility, all kind of power management and energy storage systems are increasing and of increasing importance. Business models, these traditional business models are not working in optimal way, so we have to find new business models. And of course, always is a question: who are the investor? Who is investing in this change? Now the change has happened because of heat pumps, and main investors are consumers in Finland. They have invested almost all heat pumps, about 9 billion euros. But it is also changing. So heating is electrified in Finnish conditions by heat pumpifying. Heat pumpifying is maybe the word which is used only by heat pump guys, but it is a nice word. Here is one phenomenon which is very, very new in Europe. It is only in Scandinavia and maybe especially in Finland. There are starting to come a lot of local heat pump companies which are delivering heat energy as a service from heat pumps, from local heat pumps, and competing with practically with district heating, taking part of the district heating production to local heat pumps with same model which is in district heating. Here are just some examples which are our members who has appeared on the market. Those traditional energy companies, of course, we are worried about that, but and those companies are competing with them, but we are waiting that those traditional companies also come to that business with the same business model. So not only trying to push this district heating, they could also invest on local heat pumps and make the business there. So that is one Finnish phenomenon. To those figures. So this is 1.6 million euros in the end of last year. So now it is starts to be 1.7. We see that most of the in pieces the pumps are air-to-air heat pumps in Finland, but we have also 200,000 ground source heat pumps and increasing amount of air-to-water heat pumps and exhaust heat pumps also. Same in investments. So here it is total investment about 9 billion euros, and it is mostly made by end customers with their own money without subsidies. And reason is clear, it has to be profitable in Finland. Here is those annual sales. It was in euros 600 million euros last year. We had this top year, which we were over 1 billion in 1 year. those reasons why it is going down. I don't go in this presentation, but anyway, we have reached the bottom again, and now those figures are increasing again, and we are on curve after these 2 bad years. So we have a glorious future with heat pumps. There is potential in oil burners. We have 100,000 oil burners in Finland. We have direct electricity quite a lot in Finland still in small houses and our almost 500,000 free-time houses. We have 30,000 district heated apartment houses with exhaust ventilation, and it is huge potential for heat pumps, even to use only exhaust heat pumps or combined exhaust and ground source heat pump. About 5 terawatt-hours there. Commercial service buildings, shopping centers, office houses, they are nowadays mostly new ones are going to ground source heat pumps because there is also this cooling demand, and we can use same equipment for heating and cooling, and this drilling field as a storage. Industry, it is coming. We don't know actually how big is the potential. Anyway, the heat pumps are coming there, and because nowadays we can also technically we find heat pumps which can produce 100, 120 degrees, 140 degrees, even 200 degrees steam with heat pumps. So that area is growing rapidly. And also, of course, this production of district heating in both ends of the district heating pipe. All waste energy naturally in centralized systems, and we find also local energies if we find right business model for that. Here are some specialties of heat pump market in Scandinavia. Of course, we are lucky that we have no gas grid here. We need not to compete with gas. It has helped the business all the time. We have cheap and clean electricity and very strong grid. That is what the whole Europe is missing. We have a lot of electric heating. We are replacing electric heating with heat pumps. So we are saving electricity with our heat pumps. That is specialty in Scandinavia. We are replacing also district heating with heat pumps. That is also Scandinavian specialty. And of course, we have quite a big stock already in our country and in Scandinavia, about 5 million heat pumps, which are installed 10, 20 years ago. So this replacing of heat pumps with heat pumps, that is also our one of main businesses nowadays. Of course, this is a figure from EHPA. Those countries which are selling a lot of heat pumps in Europe, they have no gas grid or very cheap gas grid, and those countries like Germany, United Kingdom, Slovakia, Poland, they have this price ratio between electricity and gas. It is almost impossible to sell heat pumps, at least without subsidies. It is subsidy business in Middle Europe, this heat pump business. For us, it is not. We have some subsidies, but they are not. Actually, we don't need subsidies in our countries, and we are good. Norway is better than Finland. They are selling a lot of air-to-air heat pumps. They have a little bit bigger stock, and they are selling a little bit more than we per year per 1,000 households. But we are second, and then next is Sweden, and in the bottom of this figure there are Germany and United Kingdom. So Finland is a good country to sell heat pumps, and we are lucky that we have no gas net, and we have I think we have done quite a good work here in our Scandinavian countries, and there is also quite a lot to learn to other Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Jussi, for this interesting overview of the heat pumps market in Finland. It's quite impressive to see that figure of 9 billion euros for that it's of investment that is entirely supported by end customers. I think it's gives the like an idea of the appreciation of this technology by customers that are every year more they're like relying on this technology. So I think it's important to that you show us this figure. And also I think it was interesting to the open question that you pointed out about the capacity of heat pumps of meeting the requirements, the needs for industrial processes. I think this indeed it's an open question still for some of the technologies that we are presenting today, and something that in the future years we will need to address. But so thank you, Jussi, for this presentation. I'm sure there will be question after this. But I will move forward with our next speaker, Hanna. Oh, this is difficult. Tuohiniitty. Sorry, I hope I pronounce it decently at least. He's sector manager at the Bioenergy Association of Finland, and of course he's going to present us an overview of bioenergy in the country. So Hannes, the floor is yours.
Thank you for inviting me here. I'm coming from the Finnish Bioenergy Association, and I'm telling something about the role of bioenergy in heating in Finland. I would like to start with this picture because this nicely shows the technology students enjoying our 1st of May, and it's a good appreciation of Finland's happiness. And I also think that the picture on the left gives a bit of a explaining why Finns are happy, which is the forest. We enjoy forest in many ways, and bioenergy is one example how we can take benefit of the forests. So who we are an association of about 250 member organizations, mainly companies, also other associations, and we are representing the entire bioenergy sector from land ownership to energy companies and everything in between. We're a very small company in employees figures, but we're trying to make the effect. So some close-up view on the bioenergy use in Finland, and also why it's explaining why we have such high renewable energy use. Here we can see the energy consumption in Finland, and bioenergy in total, including all the sectors, accounts about 1/3 of that. And this is a work which has started already in 1970s, mainly from the bigger installation, and all the time we have had a main significant share of our heating also in individual houses coming from wood. And Finnish wood use, wood fuels are mainly have been used in the forest sector, which is this industry CHP. There are also other industry sectors, and that's been the biggest part always. But in the recent years, starting from about the late 90s, the CHP using district heat has increased significantly, and also heat-only plants in district heating, and also for individual buildings has increased a lot. And the electricity-only production is very small, minor use of biofuels in Finland. And this nicely shows the renewable energy shares in European countries, where Finland is one of the biggest ones, right after Sweden. And from the next slide, it is clearly shown why this is the case. You can see Finland here with red arrow, and the bioenergy share of total part of the renewable energy is high, as it is in many, actually most of the European countries. So without bioenergy, we would be much less, much smaller in renewable energy in Europe. So some words about district heating, and because it's a great platform for bioenergy. It has been, although it's also a kind of multi-solution platform. But we have about 500 district heating networks in Finland, ranging from small networks like 500 kilowatts all the way up to 2,700 megawatt planned, heating networks in peak output. And also we have a lot of production capacities for those very cold days. Probably the figure is roughly 13,000 megawatts of peak production capacities. This includes all the different energy production forms. And the consumption of district heating is about 30 to 35 terawatt hours per year, depending on the year. And heating network is vast, 16,000 kilometers altogether. And the main focus in district heating is to utilize local biomasses. The average kind of a circle or average distance to transport biomasses in Finland is less than 100 kilometers. And for sure, some imports are used also to stabilize the markets, mainly from Baltic Sea region. And in Finland, biomass is also very much seen as one big part of the preparedness and self-reliance, to be sure that nothing is geopolitically interfering our society. And as explained, it's a good platform for multitude of solutions, which I come a bit later. On the district heating fuels, the division of fuels used, you can see here on the left side, and forest fuel wood is about 1/3, and additionally other biofuels and industrial wood residues is about 23%. So altogether more than 50% comes from forest in one way or another. And then we have heat recovery, which is also partly flue gas recovery from forest fuels. And on the right side, you will see the energy consumption in household, and there additionally is direct wood use, like residential wood logs, pellets, wood chips, and this really shows how big impact there is on energy production, energy consumption in Finland coming from forests altogether. One example of, let's say, how bioenergy in district heating is also nice having different synergies is presented here. These are the main, let's say, main application is the municipal district heating and CHP plants, like the one in Tampere where I live, a very new one, also producing electricity. And then we have a different kind of solutions, like quite new ones, like combining the production of biochar and synthetic gas production. So you can produce carbon removals and also produce gas that can be further utilized in different applications. And also individual industrial process heat production is possible with bioenergy. It can be for the industries to use steam, and one nice example, very new one actually, is in Joensuu, where the company has just invested on torrefied biomass production, which is built very adjacent to district heating plant, and they utilize energy flows in both ways, and excess heat from the torrefied biomass production is utilized on district heating network, and further that torrefied biomass can be used in other industries. So it's a kind of refinery for biomass. And just to end with some notes about future role of bioenergy on district heating. There is a constant work in the ministries about the energy and climate plan, and this is one example coming from 2 years' time, showing the primary energy in different base scenarios. And here it's quite easy to see that the role of wood fuels and black liquor, the green bars here, is not diminishing in the coming decades, although the total energy consumption is decreasing. Although the Finnish Energy Association has evaluated, based on the survey to their members, that in the coming years we probably will see some decline of biomass use in the district heating, and this is based on several reasons, but the decline is not very rapid. And the reasons are explained here on the second bullet point, which are mainly electric boilers and waste heat. Electric boilers, because we have a lot of so to say excess electricity in the network because of the high amount of wind energy in Finland. So electricity price in certain hours is very low, even negative, and this is very lucrative for the energy companies to invest on electric boilers and utilize this for district heating. And waste heat from data centers and upcoming hydrogen production is also something that we expect to play a major role in future, early 2030s at least. And the last point which I would like to raise is carbon capture and utilization and storage, which is a great opportunity for Finland. We have a lot of large point sources of biogenic CO2, and this is totally a new market, new opportunities for companies, either to utilize it for synthetic fuels or distribute it to Norway, Denmark, or other countries for permanent storage, creating carbon removals, which also has a different market. That's all from my side. Thank you. Happy
Thank
to
you.
answer questions.
Thank you, Hannes. Thank you for this presentation overview of this bioenergy in Finland. I think it was quite impressive to see some of the figures and numbers about the relevance of this source in the country. And I think it was also relevant to see the different synergies and indeed application with other plants. I think it's a key issue also for other technologies here to indeed understand what are the synergies that can be developed, how to increase the efficiency in this sense. And I much like also the end of your presentation on the opportunities of this new market for carbon capture and also storage. I think it would be super interesting to see what are going to be the developments here. And I'm sure there will be question on this as well. But I will move forward with the last speaker today. I'm pleased to introduce you to Rami Niemi. This was easier. He's Chief Technology Officer and founder at QHeat, and he's going to present us the Coaxial Reversible Medium Deep Geothermal Heat Well technology. And Rami, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. How is it seeing? Are you seeing now my screen?
Yes, perfect. Now it's perfect.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Okay, now it starts to play again. Way too fast. So, thank you for the opportunity. Teppo and Jussi perhaps captured much of the things that I am really interested at the moment. I'm glad that I don't need to explain the necessity of heat pumps in the electrification of heat production. So my point is, I guess, explain specific kind of a new technology or new-ish. It's not totally new anymore, but we still call ourselves as a startup company, maybe trying to approach into a scale-up company kind of a regime. But our company name is QHeat. We are concentrating on the electrification of heating. The company is not that new anymore. It was founded in 2018, so it makes us a 6-year-old company already. The thing that we think we are at the moment is not a drilling company, but technology company delivering several aspects in the geothermal field. Mainly feasibility studies, energy calculation, concept designs, also delivering critical well components and advisory. We hold several patents around the idea of our idea of medium deep geothermal well. And in our history, we have been producing, we have been drilling, we have delivered heat pump systems, and at the moment we are trying to expand our technology into Scandinavian market. First, abroad project we have already delivered in Estonia, and we have several, I'd say, big negotiations going on in Sweden and Norway. These two countries, as they have been already quite central in the ground source heat pump evolution, are also clearly taking interest in this medium deep concept that we are focusing on. Funny enough, it didn't start from Sweden, it started from Finland, this medium deep project. But before we go into the technology, I would like to emphasize how huge is the market opportunity. In Finland alone, it's a huge, but taking the whole Europe into calculation, the electrification of and the potential for heat pump is huge. Heating requires 50% of all energy demand globally, and this is an astonishing number. 60% of European heat is still made by fossil fuels. Equally astounding. The electrification, in our view, will be the most scalable option in the future. And with the numbers, you can calculate easy, the consequences will be big. Taking whatever 1% even out of the European EU heating market is a huge number alone. And the energy market faces multiple challenges in transitioning toward more sustainable heating and cooling solution, rising operational cost, emission standards are getting tighter, so therefore we need to do a lot. Meeting the climate goals is clearly a driver here. The funding is still one of the big challenges, as Jussi also pointed out. Who will be the funder in all these projects will be critical questions. But to the technology. In Finland, as Jussi explained, there is a huge booming market, quite mature market of these 300-meter deep ground source heat pump systems, delivering some 10 terawatt hours annually of heat as it is. This booming market made district heating companies to try to tackle the same problem and find a solution for really deep geothermal energy direct use in Finland. And most notably, ST1 Deep Heat drilled 2 6-kilometer deep wells here in Helsinki area in Espoo, Otaniemi. The project was success in terms of drilling technology, but the end result in heat extraction was somewhat poor. And me being part of that project, I was in liberty to understand the deep drilling problems and jumped over to found this QHeat company to operate somewhere in between regarding the depths. I'd say 2 kilometer is the QHeat depth at the moment. The idea of coaxial deep geothermal heat well is to provide equally predictable heating as is those shallow ground source heat pump systems, but with greater effect, greater capacity. And the greater capacity is required when we go into the city centers. So when we want to heat up large estates in the city centers, for example, hospitals, airports, shopping centers, the number of shallow 300-meter deep wells get so large that it becomes quite difficult to fit those wells into the plot. So therefore, it's actually quite obvious that we need to go deeper at some point. But the main obstacle is how do you get deep without exploding the drilling costs, and that is one of the evolutions that QHeat have been forced to make, basic. So what do we provide? The application of our technology. The most simple form of the technology is to drill hole deeper than 1 kilometer. The trick is not just drill deep hole, the real problem is how to extract the heat from deep well with limited capacity of working fluid. And making the most out of limited diameter hole. The diameter is limited since the cost grows fast when you try to drill larger diameter hole. But making the most out of the limited diameter hole happens with the use of coaxial heat extraction design. This is basically needed. You cannot avoid having this coaxial design and with when you try to go deeper than 1 kilometer. What was a little bit surprising that nobody had thought this through before QHeat and figure what we figured out in QHeat was that by changing the direction of this coaxial setup, we can make the deep well into a heat storage. And this is critical even here in Finland. For example, large hospital uses 30% of its thermal energy through cooling. And this, in my view, is quite surprising. So 1/3 of all thermal heat usage is for cooling. So what the hospital really needs, and another point, the hospital large estate uses heating and cooling simultaneously, almost all the time. So what it really needs is a heat pump. But in top of that, it needs a storage for the extra heat from summer to winter. And this is exactly what we have been doing in QHeat, making a heat storage for seasonal variation in heat demand. Also, from my history, I have been really interested in this 5th generation district heating network, which in my view is the best way to provide cities with cooling, heating, and exchanging heat. Somebody would call it waste heat, but when the heat is in 30 degrees, for example, new house can use it directly into the heating. So I wouldn't call waste heat. I would just call it recycling. About the project and the type of systems that we have done so far, the first one being the large warehouse for medical purposes anyway, trucks coming, logistics center in English. This is from Helsinki area, Koskelo. This was the first one that we produced, but already the second big project was already this Lounavoima project in Salo, in which there's a huge waste burning facility producing almost all the heat that the city of Salo needs. This means that in summertime, when you have to burn the waste basically every day in order to not to pile up the wastes, it means that in summertime the plant produces heat that the city cannot use. So therefore it makes perfect sense to store the heat into the ground. And we have just finished last week the big project of 6 wells down to 2 kilometers. And for the next winter, it will be ready and providing in the middle of the winter stored heat from the summer. I am very optimistic that this kind of systems will be big producers of heat in Finnish energy infrastructure, since even though the waste burning is not growing as it is, But for example, the data center business is growing really fast. And the third example is this already mentioned 5th generation district heating and cooling area, in which we have in Espoo this area of 6 apartment buildings sharing the same low temperature district or aerial heating and cooling network. What we are, our basic offering is to reduce the real estate emissions by 95%. Of course, it depends where you compare it, but what our main offering, I think, is that the aerial density compared to the shallow ground source heating system is by 97% even. And to the end, I would like to describe a little bit how we see ourselves in the future. Since we started as a drilling company, since we didn't find drilling company for our business in Finland, we needed to start as a drilling company, but that is not how we are going to go forward. We are our future will be through partner network for the energy companies and for the drilling companies. So what we offer is our technology, our licensed technology, our know-how, and also equipment for the wells. And what we are looking for is drilling companies, energy companies, and real estate owners. Those are the main 3 customers or partners in the future for us. This was all that I was planning on introducing at this point.
Thank you, Rami. I think it's great. It was super interesting to see how just reversing the current enables this other application. I think it's great. It was very interesting that you share it with us. And maybe we can start with the Q&A session already. And I can ask you to stay. And I see on the chat this question that it's for you. So what are the environmental consequences of storing large amounts of heat underground? And how does the raising of soil affect the local environment?
We have experienced in geological experience from Scandinavian crust, and the Scandinavian crust is extremely favorable conditions for this kind of operation. There's basically the geology is boring. Nothing much is happening. It's a crystalline basement. So the effects here are totally minimum. Now, when we go abroad, for example, in Central Europe, we need to take into consideration that we need to go a little bit deeper. The soft formations in geology are usually more affected by changing temperatures, and usually the idea is to go really deep. And when we go deep enough, we usually find the crystalline basement, and the crystalline basement is very homogeneous and not affected by the changing temperatures. I hope I answered the question.
Perfect, thank you. I will maybe then continue on geothermal. I will move to Teppo with a question. And I'm curious if you can share with us more about the social perception of the geothermal projects that have been carried out in the country. So how is this perceived in general, this technology by Finnish people?
Very well. Of course, there are always some individual project which has gone wrong because there's so many projects which has been done. But the social acceptance for geothermal is very high, and we don't have any major issues on that. There's always something going on, and something could be improved, of course, but as a large, social acceptance is very high level in geothermal here.
Okay, that's really good to know. And I also saw that you already replied to one of the questions was raised for you. So
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So maybe I will move now to Hassan. I have a question for you. I'm curious about the research and innovation priorities in Finland to support bioenergy. If you can provide us with more details on this.
Yes, thank you. There are no, at the moment, actually, I think there are no, let's say, clear governmental policies or guidelines, but in our view and many others' view, that research and development funding should be kind of technology neutrality based on general political targets, not to pick, let's say, winners as such. That has been in the past a bit of a problem on EU level at least, and this is our message to net zero regulation and net zero technology discussions. Another main principle that we are supporting is the longer term certainty for the companies, what is expected, not to make too big and rapid changes in the regulations. When it comes to bioenergy specifically, for funding research and development, the main, let's say, focus has been in the recent years to increase the value added of biomass. That's been one, let's say, key red line or red kind of basic idea in the funding, and we also support this idea. So more out of less, in a way, on economic value.
Okay, thank you. It's really interesting. I will move now to Jussi. So I liked the title of your presentation, success story of heat pumps, but I mean, to be that big, you still have to face some challenges. If you can tell us more about which were the challenges that the sector faced, and how did you address them?
Yes, thank you for nice question. It not just happened yesterday. We started this heat pump sector again in Finland 30 years ago. It was, and then I was involved even that time with that, and of course, main challenges in the beginning was that people didn't know heat pump, not at all. The word heat pump was totally unknown. How it works, it was unknown. They didn't believe in that, and so on. We were a little bit lucky in Finland because we had our neighbor Sweden, which was a little bit ahead with market. We got their belief. We got some products, also some business models from Finland to Finland, and then, but it was mostly first years. It was disseminating, meeting people, meeting clients, and talk. And of course, we were lucky that the profitability of heat pumps was quite good even from the beginning, because we had not this gas network to compete with. So it was dissemination. And example from business models, that time it was so complicated, but in Sweden they sold heat pumps without a wholesaler, and it was totally new in HVAC business to leave out wholesaler from the business and try to find so direct channels to end customer and meet end customer as much as possible and create the belief, information, and so on. So we were very active and aggressive with distribution, how to build up the distribution and meet the end customer. And we were more small companies, importers and installer companies or sales companies were very small, but they were very hungry and aggressive on the market. And that's how it started. And it was not so big technical thing. We had products in the world. In Sweden, we have some manufacturers and so on. It was more how to create the market. And there we succeeded well. We did it well. We started to grow, and then it was sector by sector. First, air-to-air heat pumps to electricity heated houses. Started to replace oil burners. Started to go to district heated apartment houses. Started to go to district heating production, and so on and so on. Take sector by sector with active role, and it was how we met those challenges. It is dissemination work, not so technical thing. Be hungry. It's small companies, of course. They are very flexible, and they did it. And today it is a billion business, and we have thousands of companies who are working there. And still there are not so big companies involved to our business. This manufacturing of heat pumps is not so interesting and not so important. It is so small role, so small part of the business is this heat pump. It is only 20 to 25% of the total business. So the rest is show and dissemination and profit and installation and drilling and so on. But that shortly.
Thank you, Jussi. Thank you. I think we can learn a lot from this. And in geothermal, we also experience a problem of visibility. No, it's many people don't know what geothermal is, unfortunately, or they cannot see it. But so it's important to understand what other technologies experience in order to learn from their lessons, I think. And so I saw that most of you replied to the questions, also the technical ones in the Q&A. So I think we can conclude our discussion. And I want to thank you all for being here, for sharing in really insightful inputs on what's happening in Finland, what are the relevant technologies here, what were the challenges and how some of them have been addressed and some are still open. I want to conclude just pointing out that the RHC is organizing an event in Brussels on the 7th of May. And it's on collaborative pathways to sustainable heating and cooling. And I really recommend you to register. You can find here there is the link, but you can find it on the website. And I recommend you to be there. I think it will be super interesting to address some of the topics that today we already talk about, but more on a European scale, let's say. And with this, I thank you all. Thank you to the speakers and thank you for the participants to be here today. I'm sure our speakers will be available for further questions. And so you will find also the recording on the website, and feel free to reach out to us in case of questions and comments. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.